This is chapter 15 on strategic human resource management of technical professionals. There are 5 learning objectives. First, we're going to understand how corporate culture influences innovation. Then, understand how to manage R&D personnel. Third, understand how to organize technical communications. Fourth, identify the different types of product development teams, the advantages and disadvantages of each. And lastly, understanding about virtual teams and how they affect product development. So here is the definition for organization culture. It is defined by the set of beliefs, norms, values, and attitudes which are common to the members of an organization. So an organization's culture would influence how much innovation a company does. Organizations that are more innovative tends to have all the members in the organization to be involved with innovating. Second, employees or everybody in the organization have respect for knowledge and knowledge development. Third, everyone is open to a diversity of points of view. They also accept failure and also encourage constructive criticism. Here are the different types of obstacles to innovation, and the 2 top obstacles include unsupportive culture and also limited funding. So how do we actually manage people who are involved in innovation? So success at innovation depends on how a company manages the people involved in innovation efforts. Companies need to be aware that managing R&D personnel is different from managing other employees in the company because the work that they do is different. Often, these R&D staff are less interested in commercial outcomes. They are more motivated by the work itself, the technology development itself. So people who choose technical professions have certain personality traits, they have certain values and certain beliefs. So the things that you should give your R&D personnel include interesting and important work, rewarding them for technical accomplishment, giving them the time and resources to accomplish the task, and also allowing them to build strong links to technical personnel outside your organization in order to exchange ideas. Next, we move on to understanding how companies manage internal communication. So innovation can be enhanced by having strong internal communication, and companies can do these 3 things. They can co-locate employees which are from the marketing and engineering background. The marketing employees would understand more about what the customer wants, and the engineering personnel could suit designing the product to what the customers actually want. So by putting together the people from marketing and engineering, the company can develop something which is more suited to the customer's needs. Second, the company can rotate people through different parts of the company for exposure. So this facilitates learning from each other. Third, you can make effective use of information technology, meetings, and events. So you don't only focus on formal exchanges via email, but you encourage employees to talk through different social events, for example. Here is just the description of ways to encourage technical communication. So we've discussed about co-location, informal social interaction, job rotation, and also the use of technology. So here is the explanation on social networks and external ties. So just now we were focusing on internal communication. Now we move on to how companies should be encouraging communication with external parties in order to enhance innovation. Okay, so companies can first increase access to the information necessary to identify opportunities out there, not just inside the company. Second, with the information that they get from outside sources, it can improve their decision making about potential innovations. Third, it also provides an advantage of time in development because the people in the company can learn from other people's mistakes, for example. Fourth, employees in the company can develop networks by engaging in activities which are outside their organization, such as attending conferences, visiting customers and suppliers, and also participating in trade associations. So here is a description of a social network where we have the circles are basically individuals, and on the right side here we see that this individual has a weak network position because he's only connected with 2 people compared to this individual which has a stronger network position because he's connected to more people. So how do you actually develop incentives for employees who are working in your R&D department? So here it states that innovation is costly to people because it is risky, stressful, and prone to failure. So the R&D employees needs an incentive in order to innovate. So the way that you can compensate them is by using equity. The next section is understanding how we can enhance creativity. The definition here is that creativity is the ability to create new and useful ideas, enhancing innovation by identifying patterns in different pieces of information about technological change, market needs, and industry structure. So creativity depends on the individual's attributes as well as the characteristics of environment in which people work. So people in the company are involved in innovating or creating something new. But how do you actually enhance their creative juices, right? Here, there are certain characteristics of creative employees. So if you want more creativity happening in the organization, you should employ more creative employees. So the characteristics of these creative employees include they have greater self-efficacy or belief in their own abilities. They are more tolerant to risk. They have greater persistence. They have more internal locus of control. They have greater tolerance to ambiguity, more intrinsic motivation, that is motivation from inside rather than externally motivated, such as when you have things like salary or bonuses. Those things don't really influence them. And lastly, they have deep knowledge in their fields. In organizations, creativity can be enhanced by encouraging first, a flexible environment. Second, by creating work groups composed of people from different functional backgrounds. Say, for example, you co-located employees from the marketing and engineering department. Third, you can teach employees to reason by analogy. Say, for example, if a technology can work for this particular product, can that technology be transferred for a new product development? So there is a downside to creativity. some companies emphasize more on efficiency rather than creating a really novel product. Next, we move on to product development teams. So product development teams are most effective when they are of moderate size and they have intermediate time together. The issue about team size is that if it's too small, the company might miss out on the benefits on that joint effort and also the diversity of skills. If the team size is too large, the performance of that team is hindered by the communication costs, the lack of identity, and also potential free riders. In terms of the time together, if it's too short, there would be lack of information exchange as it takes time to build trust. If it's too long, the members might be unwilling to accept outside ideas. Here are different types of teams. The first one is functional teams. It's made up of people from a single discipline. The second type of team is cross-functional teams, which is composed of people brought together from different disciplines. So functional teams have its advantages. The first one is having clearer supervision, as if you're in a marketing department, your superior would be your marketing director, for example. And since you are in a single discipline, you have greater specialization and there is lower coordination costs. The benefits of cross-functional teams is that the team can have integrated problem-solving capabilities and it has the potential to balance what the customer wants and also design constraints. Because now the marketing department is working together, align the customer needs with the engineering people. Okay, so next we move on to matrix structure and multiple project management. This matrix structure is becoming more popular today. So as we observe in this chart, this person here has two bosses, the marketing manager and also manager of project A. So for each individual, they have a superior, which is their functional manager and also the project manager. So cross-functional teams can take the form of lightweight, heavyweight, and autonomous teams. So these three types of teams are differentiated in terms of the authority of the team lead and also the reporting relationships of the team members. So deciding on which type of cross-functional team is appropriate for you depends on the type of innovation and also the organization's capabilities. In this diagram, it differentiates the different types of teams we have discussed. So we have functional team, lightweight team, heavyweight team, and autonomous team. For lightweight team, it is usually suitable for incremental innovation. So it's usually led by a junior manager that have limited authority and rarely control resources. As compared to heavyweight teams, this is usually led by senior managers who have the authority to make decisions on projects. They also have the authority to control resources. So the leader now has a great deal of power over the team members. The leader is also responsible for integration of all the work in the project, and they have to understand the different business functions, being able to champion the project and resolve any kind of conflicts. The autonomous team is basically suitable for breakthrough projects. This kind of teams are usually co-located and they only report to the project leader. So in this last slide, it explains about virtual teams. So virtual teams is something that is becoming more common in businesses today. Virtual teams are basically teams that are not co-located, they're not in the same location, but they are able to collaborate through electronic means, for example, using intranets and email. So virtual teams reduce the cost of product development significantly and able to incorporate more diverse knowledge. The challenges with this kind of teams is that there is little face-to-face communication that can hinder trust building and also increases conflict. So that's all for this chapter.